All right, mic check, mic check, mic check. Should be able to now hear, see the screen, all that. Welcome, Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com. Hopefully everybody is having, we'll put a time date stamp on this. Hopefully everybody's having a good trading week, month of October coming to an end as we are on the day of the 30th of October, 2025. We'll go through about an hour, give or take, some pre-market prep, take you through some of the things we look at here at Phantoms. Hopefully everybody navigated the Fed yesterday. Federal Reserve cut rates. However, Jay Powell, hey, December is not so engraved in stone there. Blah, blah, blah. Markets didn't really do that much. They swiped lower, came back mean reverted, made a new high on futures, and we're back down to mean, back in mean reversion. We'll talk about that. I'll give a small little recap too. Just real quick of yesterday, the levels that we had kind of mapped out in futures, which we're going to start with as well soon. G-traps, if you will, which we discussed at Phantoms. Worked out very nicely there. And we were coming in hot and be a short essentially yesterday as well on the S&Ps all day yesterday as well. So hopefully y'all caught that flush lower into some G-traps. I'm probably speaking a different language to a lot of folks right now, but you would learn more about that as you go through Trade Phantoms potentially, if you know the tool bag. All right, so we got news today. Let's see, government still shut down, politicians being politicians, annoying at this point. So the big thing from this week, key takeaway was going to be, of course, the Fed, and then we have earnings as well, mega cap. I'll bring that up as well. Usually I'll go here with news. It's going to be a little weird with the government still shut down there. Okay. But, some European news, etc., happening over there as well. Of course, the U.S. president and China, Xi, kind of met as well. Yesterday evening, Eastern Standard Time. And looks like there might be a deal there, but markets are already at highs. So we'll talk about this. I will bring this up right now. We're going to be trading the price action and setups regardless anyways. But I'll kick this off as always usually here, where demand and supply, institutional demand supply that is the main backdrop strategy with Phantoms here. Just the way markets work in general. Top-down multiple time frame analysis approach. So you will see a lot of orange, yellows, and blues on my charts. Monthly time frame is color-coded orange. So anything that you do see in that orange color has to do with the monthly time frame. So levels, VWAPs, etc., monthly time frame. Approaching the end of the month, right? Tomorrow's trick or treat, Halloween, 31st, right? End of the month. Okay, so November is coming in next week as well. So we are going to have some monthly bar closes at the end of the Friday. At the end of the day, tomorrow, Friday. So we have some monthly bar closes, of course, October, just all-time highs. New all-time highs in the overall. At the S&Ps in the backdrop there, right there. SPY in a daily time frame. Weekly time frame is going to give a color code of yellow. Okay, last week's high, last week's low, for example, which we blew out this week so far, is highlighted in yellow, followed by blue color code for daily time frame. For example, yesterday's high, yesterday's low is highlighted in blue there. Orange, yellow, blue, monthly, weekly, daily, etc. We have candlesticks. We actually had a little discussion yesterday in regard to, okay, great, a bunch of fancy names, but location and context on most things are going to be most important there. So even something like yesterday where we had a positive CFG on small time frames, I had mentioned to the team that it might want to be a little bit careful here as markets are a bit more high. Okay, even though we're at all-time highs. So blah, 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 kind of discuss that. And so great, fancy names on these candlesticks. However, location and context would be more important. Of course, we're in a bullish market uptrend here, and you want to be lining these candlestick formations up or closed, okay, at pullbacks into levels of demand. We have bearish candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names as well. The context and location more important, okay? And then we have, of course, supply levels in the context of downtrends is where you would want to wait and be patiently waiting for these candles to print in that regard, meaning bearish. Then we have the liquidity map, super key here. Once you get to a higher level within this trading and investing, that is, you will understand that it's just price action tape and humans' emotions. Good traders doing the right things at the right times, patient discipline, versus retail traders doing the dumbest things at the dumbest times in the wrong location, doing the same exact wrong thing at the wrong time. And us as traders, professional traders, are trying to do the right things at the right time, even though it might not feel right inside, not trade your thoughts and feelings. Okay, 2 actions, buys and sells. however, 4 possibilities. We have a liquidity map, quadrant 1 through 4. 1 and 4 are downtrends, 3 and 2 are uptrends. You got to put this through the multiple time frame analysis. There's really only 4 orders. Okay, buy to enter order, which we need to sell to exit at some point for a profit or a stop loss. Right, accumulation, distribution, and or we have a sell short to enter, which is an accumulation of a short, in which case to get out of that trade at some point for a loss and or a target, okay, you need to buy to cover to exit. Okay, so understanding where there's more accumulation of longs, okay, where buy to covers have to come in, okay, within trend, and or where sellers are exiting out, okay, and then where short sellers are potentially coming in, which provides more supply. Cannot discuss that. Even if I did over here and discuss that, you probably still, most people won't understand it until they go through the process multiple times through putting these multiple time frame analysis together. All right, understanding extensions and mean reversions on multiple time frame analysis. All right, Spartan Law. This is my man Joe Frank. All right, cool. Let's kick this off here. I'll start out with futures. The major 4 indexes here. All right, cool. So we get the S&P daily time frame upper left, NASDAQ upper right, Dow Jones over left, Russell 2000 bottom right. Even with the rate cut yesterday with small caps, typically would be a little bit more sensitive to rate cuts. Russell didn't. Russell was a little bit more stronger yesterday, but ended up not being as strong towards the latter part of the day yesterday, right? But we'll focus mainly on the S&P and the NASDAQ. These are the 2 major indexes hot right now, right? So here's the current price. If you can kind of look that out. I'm on daily time frame S&P futures here, and there's the current price. And I don't want to go all the way back here, but we have this 10-10 bar, that kind of famous day, if you will, or not a famous day, but a big day there. Set the stage there for what unraveled into inside bar and making new highs. So I'm sure a lot of people, due to this market continuing to go higher, people who are short getting squeezed out to the upside there. However, here we are now, right? So we had a new impulsion move higher high into new all-time highs. So this was once the all-time high that broke, of course. So now we have a new all-time high, which just happened tonight, or I should say overnight today, right? So just map out that new all-time high for right now. And so far, if I look at, here's the current candle, where we're down slightly 0.38%, okay? If I look at yesterday's candle, which was, Fed day, et cetera, we also have mega cap earnings as well. I'll try to get that in as well to that. I took a Google trade and lost. I think I'm down, 2.8 points or something like that in this spread. I was just wrong on that. So I will get to a couple of earnings as well. We got Meta down. We got Microsoft slightly down. We got Google up, insane. Okay, tonight we also have Amazon and Apple. I'm just giving you some of the big Mag 7 mega cap stocks that kind of rule not only this market, but almost the world these days, right? These massive stocks. So these are the big ones there. I'll see if I can kind of squeeze in a couple things in regard to earnings. But getting back on track here, just in regard to futures. Okay, yesterday, we had a swipe lower. Okay, we talked about prior day's lows, et cetera. You'll see when I drop down to small time frames, we had a couple of G-trap levels mapped out. Okay, an aggressive one, a less aggressive one, so on and so forth. Okay, and then we're just going to do the same thing today. I was stressing yesterday how, try not to think so much about where you think market's going to go and trade a process, system, and edge. And yesterday, if you were in the live trade room, man, it was a beautiful thing just in regard to how everything kind of unraveled the way it did. So hopefully I had a good trading day yesterday in that regard. Slammed SPY puts and then bought it right back up on the G traps, which we're going to get into the S&P futures right now. That was yesterday, so we're going to see what we can offer here for today as well. See if I can set y'all up for some success this morning. All right, but we are going to reference yesterday's low. I'll drop that out in a moment. Okay, now we have this unfilled gap here. Okay, y'all see this gap right here? We have a close, 1024, which was last Friday, right? Last Friday. And of course, the next opening would be the 26th on futures, but Monday would be the 27th for regular, stock market, if you will. So we closed there and we gapped up this week, right, from 1024 to 1027 over the weekend. We gapped up. Okay, so there's still an unfilled gap in here. Now, one of the things I'm going to discuss, which I already made a note of yesterday in our live trade room, was be careful with these unfilled gaps, because what will happen is once we start to break below that kind of low on that day, which is Monday's low, which would also be this week's low, by the way. Okay, just like over here, we had Monday's low, and a couple days later, Wednesday or Thursday, whatever, we swiped that really quickly. Monday's low right there, made a new low. Okay, of course, that was confluence with 20 EMA, monthly view ups, etc. Okay, and that was again a daily sweep low. Okay, below Globex low in the context of an uptrend, trap, putting a low inside bar, breakout to the upside. So here we have this again for today. Okay, because what I'm looking for is where can I trap dumbass retail traders consistently, right? That's what I do as a professional trader. Where's the dumbass retail traders going to come in and do the dumbest thing? Okay, so then I could just do the logical thing there, right? So as they're coming down, potentially breaking that low down in there, okay, potentially for that gap fill, okay, that's potentially where we can have what's called a trap. Okay, now if that does come down even more, and we're wrong on that level, for example, okay, which I'll get down to in a moment. Okay, we could fill that potential gap. We have that rising 20 period moving average here as well. Just as an area of influence where we have a rally, and we had a couple days basing here, absorbing the all-time high supply, and then we finally had a pop. Okay, so that's the breakout pops there. So just write this down and give or take, 6780, 6775. Give or take in regard to the S&P futures, this current price will come down. There's a daily demand level that was left there now because as we popped into that new high there. All right, I'll drop down the small time frames in a moment. This will, I'm hoping, will make a little bit more sense there as we drop down. NASDAQ, switching over to the NASDAQ futures daily time frame. Yeah, Meta crapped, but I'm picking up more shares. Meta 10%. I'll get to the Meta chart on the monthly, weekly, daily in a moment, but I'm picking up more shares of Meta long term. I'll get to that. There's a couple of beautiful levels lower, which I'll make a point to definitely get to that to that ticker today for sure. I'll show you on the monthly, weekly, daily. We got NASDAQ futures here, daily time frame, right? Here I can almost say the same thing, right? Finally absorb that bar, boom, break, base. Here we go. There goes that gap. Okay, I'm going to put a line here, okay, in the sand, if you will. And this is going to be an area of interest because that's where that gap comes in, right? Where that, as we start to potentially get down into this area, okay, this is where, we're breaking down lower, and that's where we could potentially have that trap for a gap trap, if you will. I like the way that sounds, gap trap. Trapping. All right, and what's this? What's the actual literal low? 25,700. Boom. All right, there we go. Here's current price here. Made a new all-time high sneakily overnight, as you can see there. So there's a new all-time high. Yesterday, a little bit of a doji bar there on the actual close. So Fed, markets just closed neutral for the most part, right? Fed day. They cut, which was 99 point whatever it was, 9% chance that they were going to. Okay, and markets went flushed down a little bit, hit a level of demand, and reverted right back up. Okay, right here we are. And then overnight we just clicked a little bit of a new high there. And right now, S&P's, NASDAQ are down as well, but NASDAQ is down negative 0.64%. All right, of course we're going to map out yesterday's high and low. We're going to go to the small time frames and map out these G traps. What was once the all-time high here, as you can see, this would be a break on the other side. And in the event that we got down there today, hypothetically, which anything could happen at any moment, okay, that would be a retest, okay, to the other side, which was once the all-time high, which I'm sure a lot of folks would probably like, yeah, the top is in, here we go, 10-10 bar, kick this off, here we go, the market's gonna crash, okay, inside bar, whatever, new high, okay, so that could be a retesting to the side, ton of confluence around this area as well, okay. So I'll switch over to the monthly, weekly, daily. We'll drop down the small time frames in a moment. However, in regard to Meta, just really quickly. All right, so I got Meta here on a monthly time frame to the left, weekly here in the middle, daily on the right. Let me just delete this unfilled gap there, just so it kind of cleans it up. I'm gonna take that note there. So Meta is pre-market quote right now is 675.90, 676. So we're gapping down over into here, 676 in Meta. Okay, so that's right here. So when this opens, it's going to be a massive red bar here on the weeklies. Now, one of the things that I'm looking for, this is around the 200, the daily 200. So I got a monthly here, weekly here, monthly, weekly, daily. Got 200 daily parity moving average over here. Okay, right below this weekly level here. So we had an impulse, basing impulse. Okay, we were talking about even this level back in here, right? Long Meta, and we rallied back up. Now we kind of came down and came deeper in this level again. Okay, had another hammer bar here, okay, fakey breaky, kind of a fakey breaky here, okay, which coming out of that weekly level, and that kind of provided, Meta. This is actually where I bought more shares, right? I was talking about this, and we kind of popped up a little bit here, right? And it was kind of like in the middle range of Meta, right? But before earnings, so I decided to kind of just stay out of it on this particular one. I got into Google, I stayed out of Microsoft. But the point is, right now we are gapping down into here. This could be used as a potential liquidity sweep right below here. But one of the things that I'm looking for is we're about to close the month of October. So this is very important over the next several days, give or take, going into October, into the new month. We have these monthly bar closes. Now, this was just a short hot yesterday, seemed to be what would look like, okay, a beautiful monthly bar close, green bar close here. Now, this is going to be red, okay? Now, at some point, okay, let's just say we come at around here and Meta doesn't really move that much. Let's just say, for example, and then we close tomorrow being October 31st, the monthly, okay? The monthly, this would be a monthly bar low here. And if we were to hold, if we were to swipe below that monthly bar low, which would be October, into this potential June low in here with this fresh level of weekly demand right in here. So you notice how I have a weekly, I have a monthly low, the June low 644.25, okay, confluence with the rising 20 moving average on the monthly impulse correction impulse. Because as crazy as this sounds, even though Meta's down 10% post earnings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if I'm looking at the monthly time frame, okay, this is still holding higher high, higher low, higher high time frame structure, okay? And you can see that 20 moving average on the monthly, okay? We're coming down into this area here. If we were to get down into the 650 below June, June's low, inside of this impulse prime level of weekly demand, okay, I am all over this, okay? So I'm gonna pick up some more shares here today, okay, long-term portfolio-wise, and then we could begin to potentially sell some puts over into here, okay? Now, day trading-wise, we wanna be a little bit more careful just for the day. Here's why implied volatility is still slightly higher residually, okay? So if you're gonna be buying, or if you're gonna be day trading and buying options, give or take, just be careful because we have to battle that still residual implied volatility crush, okay? You don't have to worry about that much if you're buying or purchasing shares, okay? Now remember, this is gonna be more long-term portfolio, so I already picked up some shares here. I'm still already long-term portfolio, long. My Phantoms numbers was low, okay? TP, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? Up in here. You know, took pictures of all that, sent all that to the folks, right? Blah, blah, blah. And so pick up a little shares here, sell some more heavier puts lower down in here, okay? In the event, right? A fresh, nice prime level. You know, we'll see what happens, okay? Does that make sense? So on this drop down, okay, I'm looking to accumulate into, okay, a more a longer term bullish plays, okay? Now, I'm not talking about 1 day or 2 days. I'm talking more longer term portfolio. Okay, does that make sense? So if you notice what I'm doing on these drop downs into weeklies and monthly levels, okay, I am looking to accumulate on the long term. So the fact that this is making a slam new lower low on daily, because the daily has been a little what choppy down. You know, we have like lower low, lower high overall here because we had a couple of down months even in Meta, right? But the daily is now potentially new lower low stretched outside of 2 standard deviations here, and if it went lower down in here, it would be even more stretched. So stretched, okay, stretched on the daily time frame, which is a small time frame if it's sitting at the table with the monthly and the weekly, okay, I want it to be stretched, okay, down in here, making a new low on daily as we're coming back into a mean reversion, balancing on the monthlies and weeklies. And need I say more, is this a nice prime level of weekly demand on Meta, okay, starting here at the call it the 645 down into the 620. Folks, give me yes or no on that, right? That's a nice little impulse, nice little fresh level right in there, and it's associated with a monthly low and some monthly higher time frame mean reversion confluence. Okay, does that make sense? So we talk a lot about multiple time frame analysis, and that is super key there. Okay, that's super key there. So there you go. There's my TED talk on Meta. Good opportunity here, right? Daily 200 moving average here, hovering as well. You don't get that a lot. You know, reaccumulation. You got to think longer term with these kind of things, right? Short term. Oh no, Meta's down 10%, Meta's down 15%, but that's how you do it. You got to buy low and sell high. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever from now. Okay, if we're coming off of the 660s and 620s and the 640 levels, and we're trading back up to 750, 780, hypothetically, I'm not talking about maybe a new all-time high. Well, you would have bought low when you had the time to do so, and as we potentially rally up, you can now sell to exit some. Okay, and it's not going to be a day trade. Okay, so you can start to accumulate. Okay, accumulate. All right, I digress. We got to move on here, and probably giving out too much free information there for some folks, and but it's all good. But some people out here are just clowns, man, clowns. So want to save the juicy stuff for the actual Phantoms. What's going on, T-Way? All right, so we left off here. So that was the monthly, the weekly, the daily. Just kind of went through a little bit quickly there. I'll switch over into the smaller time frames here. I'll get it back to the ES futures, S&P futures. So I got the 60-minute time frame here, upper left, small time frame. I've got a 30-minute bottom left here. Got a 5-minute here in the middle, followed by a 2-minute time frame here on the right. I'm going to pop open a 1-hour time frame here. Why? Well, real quick, here's the current price, right? You know, futures are down slightly. They just had a nice little drop down. But just real quick before I delete kind of yesterday's work here, right? So we can move this up. So this was yesterday's Globex high, Globex low, fancy word for not overnight low, overnight high, represented by those blue lines. And the strategy, we had kind of two levels here. 69.15, we had an aggressive note on this level right there. Okay, as we broke that below yesterday, this level kind of got swiped through. But we also had a better one, 68.87. Okay, down in this area where that was the second level of demand that was better than that first one there. We discussed that. And S&Ps, right? Post Fed, right? We slammed down, okay, and we came into a nice basing rally out, basic stuff there, okay. And somebody in the world was chasing price lower and sold short down in there. Ouch. Okay, now we weren't selling short, getting bearish all the way down here. No, we were taking profits from longs, okay, down here. This was yesterday. I can just show y'all SPY. By the way, those orders, even those limit orders, got filled yesterday, cranked out. So hopefully, in the live trading with Phantoms members yesterday, we're doing very good executions. But I got 60-minute S&P futures on the left there, and this was SPYs yesterday. I'm sorry, on the right, futures, and I got SPYs here on the left. And basically, yesterday we were just below daily VWAP 95% of the time there. Okay, so we were selling rallies into VWAP, getting short. Okay, selling rallies into VWAP, getting short, taking profits lower, taking profits lower, taking profits lower. Those limits that we had in there, by the way, actually got filled. That we had prepped, that we had planned. I just had them sitting there. They got filled for like $1, cheap, right? And they just slammed lower. Right? Market slammed lower, and they went into a great profit. So hopefully y'all took advantage of that. Okay, literally the options went from we had this what was it, the 687. We had limits order just down in here. Literally added to the. I missed this by a tick, by the way, but 150. Literally got filled to 150. And the thing just ripped up to like $3, $4, $5, give or take, on some of the other tickers, on some of the other premiums as well. But then it slammed down. Okay, slammed down. TP shorts. Okay, and then this is where you would definitely start to take some profits on shorts, and then this would be a bullish Globex trap. Okay, and that's where it put in a low there, ES futures G trap. Okay, and this is my Phantoms would know you can buy to enter long as well. Okay, to trade with the trend, and then we just slammed back up into a mean reversion, and even overnight, futures made a new all-time high, a little sneaky one right there. Okay, so very powerful there, G trap. And just while I'm on that topic, just real quick, and I'm bringing this up not to say, hey, cool, level work, just trust the process. All right, so I went on a tangent yesterday, kind of crazy a little bit there, and I was just talking about, okay, great, it's Fed, this, and that, but process system. And so all I'm trying to get is the key takeaway here yesterday, even in NASDAQ, super clean, Globex high, Globex low, first level below, demand, impulse, basing, impulse right there, right? 26,060 right there, Fed, G trap, boom, right into that level there. Okay, does that make sense? That put in the low on the day, and then boom, new high, all-time high. Okay, so again, very powerful stuff there, very basic shit too. Not thinking, not feeling. I didn't care what the Fed was going to do or not do, and this and that, left and right. Just process, system, demand, supply. That's it, right? And that's one of the things that I was just trying to talk about to the Phantoms members yesterday. Okay, and it's just good to see if you just trust that process, and you trust that system, and you execute over what you think you're feeling, emotions. Okay, you're just like, wow, seemed almost easy, right? All this noise in the background, but it's like all the market should just flush below, Globex low, hit a level of demand prior day. Okay, put in a low, and then just rip back up. Okay, but Mr. Blue short, yeah, we were short. Okay, NASDAQ, I was getting a little bit long, took a stop loss, and it just worked shorts. Okay, that is that flush out, Globex trap. Boom. We also had some positive gamma nodes down there in the S&P, SPX as well. Anyways, that was yesterday. So there's the recap there. Now today, since I'm on NASDAQ, I'll just stay here on NASDAQ. Here's today's Globex high. Here's today's Globex low. Yesterday was wild but fun though, yeah. But do you see how everything played out? Right? You see how everything played out. As a Phantom team yesterday, even the stupid shit that we had a member in there that was being a little weird, man. But everything that we did as a fucking team, did it play out to a T, Phantoms members? Right? If we were right, did everything almost play out to a T yesterday? That's what I was just trying to get at to everybody in there yesterday. Right, all those G traps. If you go back and watch the recording, all those G traps, everything that all the orders that we did put in on SPY, just beautifully, right? The team was all right. Mason was like, hey, let's add here, puts, perfect add, right? Put limit orders in at VWAP up, okay? Long more puts, flush lower into the G trap, exactly where the bottom cover exit, right? Do not chase that short into a level of demand. Low G trap, pop new highs, just beautiful. Basic, simple shit. Not not thinking, not feeling, just executing a strategy and an edge. But some people don't want to do that, and they want to just think and feel and try to think they know what's going to happen next, etc. Be careful with that. Today's Globex low is now here, which we just put in right there. Okay. Now we do have yesterday's low now being there, so make a note of that. Okay. Let me just copy and paste this line here. This is a daily low. It's not yesterday's low, but that is what Tuesday's low right in there. Remember this gap trap right below here too. In the event, term structure vol on VIX is up, so be careful. There's bids out there for a high vol at the moment, so just be careful with that. If you don't know what that is, then join Phantoms, man. You learn more about supply, demand, and levels are easy after a while. What's going on in the backdrop with flows, option flows, etc. That's the other level of this. Watch out for that gap trap, 25,700. Okay, I would suggest you can almost put an entry right below there. Okay, and just trap these daily low, this week's low. Okay. And so in the event, right below an even number as well. Okay, so you can almost put an entry order right in there. All right, watch out for this today, potentially. There you go, too, Dad, my man. Yeah, somebody, I think it was what I remember Cisco. He's like, you should the way that you should have asked it was, how can one balance a long book, short book with a event vol, wick event, and that answers that question right there, right? Side to be on right now is short, flush out, TP shorts. Leave some shorts on a little bit there just in case this level got annihilated there, right? Drop size on shorts, protect, but start to dip in some longs. To enter longs. Shorts, you probably got stopped out on trails, okay, as your long book now starting to take over a little bit more there. So if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. You work both sides. If you know what you're doing, you get some skills there, right? Now today, of course, just watch out what yesterday's low is right there. Now we just dipped into this level, right? We just dipped into this level. Okay, we had Fed yesterday, right? So we just dipped in and just tagged out. So there could be some unfilled, some more orders down in here. So we could have some G traps right below here as well. The Globex low and yesterday's low is very close at the moment right now. So just be careful with this level. We already kind of hit it one time. This will be the second time back, which reduces the supply demand equation there, right? However, if we do go down, watch out for what was this Tuesday's low in here, and we actually do have a little bit of some demand levels that we kind of mapped out yesterday as well, just in preparation. Okay, below the Globex low, even below yesterday's low, and then below this daily low, which was Tuesday, we have a couple of basing impulses right in here. Okay, so I'll give you the second one lower down in here. There's a couple of them, folks. Okay, but because of time, holy smokes, because of time, just make sure you're mapping out these basing impulses right below here. One of the things that I'm looking at is the regular trading hours versus the overnight session. So these levels here were developed during the regular trading hours on Monday. If you look at Monday's bar or Monday's candle, Monday's day. Okay, so these levels here are going to be demand levels that were developed inside the regular trading hours, okay, below these daily lows here. So 25,875, give or take, 25,816. All right, and these are a couple of things that we could potentially look at. First, as in the event that we are coming down, all right, and we are, let's just say we are short, for example. If you are short, okay, trickling down a little bit here. Be careful with that, at least at the moment. Bell's about to ring and soon. Make sure you TP down there. And again, this is where you could potentially demand down here, buy to enter, okay, at least for a potential bounce or mean reversion. Okay, so hopefully that's that. Watch out for that G trap there. I'm sorry, the gap trap 27,700, and then right below there we got 25,665. And one of the things that I'll make a note here too, check the QQQs. Check QQQs, which is the ETF of NASDAQ. Why? Okay. because as we have a gap in futures, okay, what we can reference QQQs to help us match the parallels and draw the parallels to the NASDAQ futures. Switching over to S&Ps. Great yesterday, great. Talked a little bit about that. To recap, there's the Globex low there today, kind of retesting at around that same level of initiation right there. First tag there, great. Spoke about that. Moving on. Globex high there today. All right, there's the gap trap. All right, there's that gap trap right below there. So G trap, gap trap, bullish. All right, the actual low itself is 68, 65, 75. Let's round up to 66, right? So that actual low right there, which is Monday's low, or I should say Sunday's low, right? In futures, what was it? 65, 75. Oh, nailed it. Okay. Chipotle. Why are you making me hungry already, Mason? Making me hungry. Chipotle down 10%. So this Monday's low. Watch out for that gap trap right there. 60, 68, 65. So 68, 60, give or take. Right around there could be that potential gap trap there. In regard to futures, and S&Ps, that is, because Nasdaq's a little bit more stronger, mainly due to NVIDIA and AVGO, Google, holy smokes, right? Apple even all-time highs. We got in the event that we do snap a bit more lower and we break below here, of course we get that unfilled gap, and then we get that previous all-time high, which was one supply, and this will be flipped on the other side. So that comes in about what 68.13 handle on this side, and that would be like right below that little gap fill right there too as well. All right, so while everybody's kind of looking at that gap, okay. If we snap that gap, okay, we can come into the previous all-time high, 68.13, have that green box there with some prices there as that 10.10 Friday bar high. All right, that's the flip on the other side there, okay, as retest. All right, Globex, in order to short, we'd need to, for G-traps, we need to be above a Globex high level of supply. Now, this market did put in a couple of little choppy, grindy little overnight supply levels here. Indeed. Okay, so we can monitor that as well. And yeah, if we do rally up to TP, right? Does that make sense? Even right now, okay, we're on these low. We just made a new kind of just made a new low kind of overnight here, right? But even if you wanted to short, this is not the time to chase short right here into this level. Okay, even a little couple of minutes ago, you do kind of want to see if we can get a little bit of a rally up. Okay, solid rallies up into some supply levels in there. But the bell's about to ring soon. We can take that into the open there. Gold, I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as I possibly can. I mean, we talked about how monthly, weekly, daily, new month closing here. I'm already anticipating this 38.42 monthly time frame left, monthly time frame to left. October close here, new month, right? Watch out for a potential sweep very quickly below that October low that is most likely going to be formed over the next day or two. Okay, into levels lower down and into levels, a lot of daily levels lower down in here, right? So I'm still looking at this 39.50 handle. Okay, I got some GLD. Okay, I just took some profit. I got some GLD, which is the ETF for gold. Taking advantage of a couple levels down in here. With futures, just be careful. We have some now daily supply above. So if you look at the current price on the daily time frame, we did have a little bit of a drop. Have a little bit of a basing here. We did have a little bit of a drop. Okay, so that did kind of leave a little residual daily supply level that at some point needs to get absorbed if we would rally up here. And also, however, we're overall still on the overall macro uptrend. Gold needed to calm down a bit, right? Can't go up forever. Can't go up forever. Overall, I'm expecting some kind of little range here to digest, as that's how things in markets work typically. After a major run, a mature market like gold, of course, this is not a GameStop or something crazy. Keep going. This is gold, right? A mature market. So after this big run, of course, digressing that, okay, and put in some potential range, right? Put in some potential range. That said, in the event that we do make these new lows, Octobers, and these are nice little impulse basing rallies, nice little fresh levels of demand as you start to get down into this level here. Okay, so I'm keeping my eye on it. Okay, we are in a decent location where this could have a base and start to align up here. But we got this 41.50 up here that we need to absorb, and we got this 38.50 down here from October. That would be October lows. Okay, coming into some meter versions on the weeklies. Okay, and if we get extended on dailies into these daily levels, okay, this would be climactic lower, new low on daily, front side into on the higher time frames. Okay, so new lows. Okay, you'd buy to enter into that, not only for day trade bounces, but as we start to get down to these, as we start to now get below some monthly sweeps, etc., down this level, okay, you could potentially leg in to some more swing trades. I'm already beginning and already have been and stating that I've been doing that in GLD. Okay, and I took that S&P 3950 level, for example, okay, and took it over to GLD. Okay, and I was referencing how this weekly low right there, which confluenced with that 3950 futures on gold futures, that's where I was waiting for it to leg in, not even more, playing off this 350, sold some spreads. I even picked up some GLD shares lightly as I'm continuing to sell more size of premiums here. Sold bull put credits here, even yesterday on the pop up. All right, took some profits on the bull put credit spread. All right, so already working on taking some money away out of the 350 handle on October low. We're not even there yet, right? Bought a little bit of shares. Okay, we gapped up yesterday, took some of the credit spread off, still own those shares. I'll continue to rotate selling these puts down into this level down here, the 350 handle in GLD, which is going to be in futures, the equivalency at or around what the 38, and then the below the 38.40 handle, which is the October, which would be the October low soon. And down in here, what we got the 38 and 37.50 handle. Okay, so this is the area where GLD would be about roughly 350, right? Roughly 350 handle. On GLD. Where are you long Meta and Microsoft? I'm more long Meta than Microsoft personally. Mason, great question. The only thing is, I've been trading a long time. So in my long-term portfolio, like my average fill on Meta is still a lot lower because I've been doing this many years ago, brother. Does that make sense? So my average fill is still lower, a lot lower. I mean, if I were to look at, let me see, I'll log in right now. I got 4 minutes, but actually I gotta log into this anyways. Hold on. And it's going to change today because I'm going to pick up some more shares. However, where are you? My average fill, $400, brother. $400 on Meta. $400. Nutty, right? Right. So notice when I buy the enter shares, I'm not looking at small little. I'm looking at monthly and weeklies, right? So even though I bought some here and it went up a little bit, but then it came lower, I'm gonna continue to accumulate, right? But my average fill is 400, right? My average fill is 400, so I have to position size accordingly in here. Right? That's why I'll pick up little shares, sell some more puts lower. If this comes lower, I might get put some stock, right? More size. And I'm going to continue to rotate and sell some puts lower. All right, rotating. All right, with a keen eye on how much accumulation, what I am accumulating. All right, I don't want to bring my average fill too much higher there. All right, but this is why I'm trying to stress with people so much. It's not just about, I mean, y'all think, I only day trade here real quick. No, this is a process, a system, long term. Right now, some of y'all, now Mason, I know you're a young kid, right? But as you start to learn and grow and you get more capital, okay, you can start to build positions, okay, and work on a stock like Meta, all right, not just for a month, for years and years going forward. All right. All right, moving on here. There you go, Samantha. Samantha gross. Samantha is not so gross. She's at 424. She's been waiting. to get some more. Well, Meta's down 10%. Now, yeah, and that's the thing you have to understand. Oh no, Meta's gonna start, crash. Zuck comes out, man. Zuck is like a cat, man. He always lands on his feet. He's a creep in a good way. All right, we're out. VIX. I can't even go through my whole process here. VIX volatility index. VIX up, market down. VIX down, market up. A lot more to that, especially what's happening in the backdrop right now within volatility. Way too much to explain right now. Market's supposed to open up in like 30 seconds. Overnight high, overnight low in VIX. If VIX were to, it's up a little bit, right? Well, it's down overall, but we have a little bit of a spike currently. If VIX takes out overnight high and remains and continues high, that could be more bearish for the market. So just think of opposite correlation. VIX up, market down. However, VIX down, market up. There might be some vol guys in here watching this, and a lot more to that. Yes, I know. Just to keep it simple for right now, kind of what you're looking at there, right? Inverse correlation. All right, gonna go to SPYs. Usually I build out what's called the call put matrix. Can't do that right now with the time. Mark Wahlberg. So I got SPYs. I kind of kept the notes on from yesterday, just for the team there, but I got to delete this. But I'm not going to do that right now. Let's just move on. I got to switch over to the 2-minute time frame here to the left. Daily on the right. Yeah, too, Dad. Just people. It was event risk yesterday, so people, I'm sure, just kind of like bidding into some, protective puts to hedge. That's usually going to be a little bit more the case there. Yeah, and VIX was letting us know all day yesterday for the most part to hold SPY puts. If you know, you know. We got Apple breakaway gap, but we got to be careful with that. We got Tesla outside gap lower. Interesting. Tesla outside gap lower. Oof. Hard to get short into these, even little, albeit short-term time frame levels. This is overall still up. I think this is this week's view up. I pinned the wrong day on this. Tesla. This area here might be decent here to pick up. If we flush lower on Tesla, pick up some bullish long calls here. It's outside gap lower. I'll see what I can snag right here off open, and then we can kind of go back into that. Let's get some quick internals. VIX still just on an uptick pre-market, post-market, 2 minutes open. Vol D negative 1,000, extremely positive negative 2,000, give or take. VIX on VIX a little calm, a little bit more calm, and then we got Vol D lower negative 3, positive 3 would be extreme. We're a little bit extreme on volume up versus volume down on the NYSE New York Stock Exchange. And we have We got some negative gamma above. Pinsky, July. Where'd you lock in on July? Actually, I'm going to pick up a little more shares right now. I don't know if you can sell puts, brother. I don't want you to get too. Picking up more shares of Meta now. I mean, I would hate to tell you to cut it like right down. At this level is super sweet, man. So gap down on you, but it now we could get some flutter lower, etc. But I would I'd see if you could try to still continue to kind of work on it. That's what I would say. 700. So you got like 700 average fill. 700. So you're right here. So I mean, it depends. I can't, don't disclose capital, all that kind of stuff, right? Protect yourself. But I mean, your average fill is not super bad here, right? And you're only at 700 right there, so you're good. So I would still trust your training and continue to. If it was I, right, reaccumulate here, sell some puts, reaccumulate some more here, and even if we just get a little bit more of a bounce, like up into this area here, give or take, right, you can start to unload some, right. As the average fill will drop a little bit, you can start to let go of some like the 700s or whatever the orders that you have, right, and then you keep the FIFO first in first out. You have those accumulations lower. All right, I know it's a little painful at the moment right now. It literally happened to me last week in IBM, where it's the same thing where I picked up some shares and kind of bounced a little bit pre-earnings and we slammed down. Now IBM gapped down, and then 2 days later I bought more shares, and then 2 days later made a new all-time high. That's not going to happen in Meta, right? Well, it's not going to happen in Meta at the moment because it's a different structure here. But I'd say continue. It's hard for me to tell you to cut it right in here, brother. That's hard for me. With 2 standard deviations outside of daily below 200 in this weekly level, it's hard for me to do that at these monthlies. All right, you're good, brother. You should be all right. All right, cool. So we got a little bit of a SPY flush lower here. Indeed, bro. Indeed. Login SPY here. All right, so if you're getting this, come on, what's going on with Digger Swim? If short, you got a nice little flush lower here. All right. Okay, so 6865 is that Monday's low, right? Is that Monday's low? All right, so we're basically already there. All right, on new lows. So if short, TP some, right? Take some profit. When the gap abyss here too from a couple days ago, But if this starts to flush out a little bit lower, check options tab. I don't really have massive positive gamma here, but it is a little bit of a lighter shade, a little bit below here. Some blues, light shade, not a lot of positive gamma below here. One thing I would say about today too is we have a lot of sold options above here, creating what's called negative gamma. Okay, now we are on these lows here, right? We are on these lows here. So if we flushed out a little bit more lower, okay, that would be that Monday's low sweep that we're discussing there. Okay, that we're discussing there. So I'm almost hoping if you're short TP, so I'm almost hoping that it does flush lower. Now I don't have within this gap, we don't have a level, right? So even in futures could be gapped up. So it's basically going to be essentially a just that gap trap. Okay, even in equities right now on the SPY. Okay, so I have to use actually the futures today. So if we were to break what we are about 5 points, give or take 4 or 5 points away. So if we move down another 4 or 5 points, okay, that would take SPY, give or take, at around maybe the 68.50, give or take. So we can do a couple things there. We can wait for the S&Ps to actually get below this for that potential trap, okay, and prepare some SPY calls. You can just put some limit orders in on the S&P futures, okay, at the 58, 58, 58, 68, 58, 68, 55. Okay, I can even just do that really quickly, even over here on the ES. Just going to throw some in here real quick, but I'm going to prepare the SPY. $58 down to 50. I'm going to prepare $58, $55 down to 50. All right. So I got those in, and on SPYs, if we were to make a new low here, VWAP for today so far is 682.70. Let's round up to 683. So if we flush down lower on SPY, you can maybe look at the 683 and or the 684 strike call. All right, so if I take the 684 strike call and prepare this over here, which I'll put right in the middle. All right. SPY and S&P futures would have to flush a little bit more lower. This would get a little bit more cheaper. A little bit more cheaper. We could price that out in price slice if we wanted to. If we wanted to, we could do that. The only thing with this is typically I want to lean against level, which we don't have because it's in the gap. It's in the gap abyss, right? So if I just price out 680.50 for example, for this 684 strike call, I got your Mark Wahlberg. I got your brother. What is it? 6. What did I say? 680.50. Is it? Yeah, give or take, that'd be that new low. This would be about, see how it's going for $1.60 right now. It'd be about $60 cheaper. So you probably get these for like $1. Okay, so what I just did was I just price sliced what this call would be worth in the event that S&Ps got down to this area here. About $1. All right, now that's counter momentum, at least for today, right? So I can put some bids in on that. However, right now we got a little bit of a rally, right? So that's the 684 strike call with a bid, not in yet, a bid at $1 premium. Okay, so markets would have to make that new low down in this area for that to get filled. Let me answer my man Mark Wahlberg's question here real quick on NASDAQ. And you can see the equity SPY. But we're at VWAP right now. So if you wanted to engage bearish, this would be the time right now. So so I can maybe look at the real quick, the 680 strike. That's a 35 delta, or you can look at the 679 strike. Okay, that's a 30 delta. All right, since I'm going a little fast and kind of backed up a little here, my own fault. Okay, I'm looking at the 679 strike put. This is something executionable right now as we rally up into VWAP right now. Long put, 679 strike. I got your question, Mark Wahlberg. He's a beast. He's good. That's long. What is this? Spies, right? What is this? 679 strike put. All right. Yep, I'll go to the NASDAQ next, folks, right? I got y'all covered there. All right, so this is long put, which is going to be bearish. All right, not much risk, $1.20-ish, $1.30, $1.20, $1.17-ish. If this VWAP snaps, we just slam higher. He's going to be wrong. Bull market. So we'll see. Now on NASDAQ, a lot of questions there, right? Oh, man, I was hoping that it just did this real quick. Spies gap trapped. No, futures. Long day though. Long day so far. NASDAQ question. What was it? We tested Tuesday's low to the tick, give or take. 25,900. Yeah, around there. You guys a little bit some impulse basing impulses, right? Yeah, y'all got it. So the below that daily low, right? Mark Wahlberg is looking at the 25,900. There's a level there, right? Impulse basing impulse, the 900. But if you look at the 900, you see how we have a little bit of an impulse basing impulse. I know it's very small, it's weird, but the 900 has the 900 after this impulse, a little bit of a basing. Albeit very small little impulsion move there. There's already the pullback there, right? Does that make sense? It's a very nuanced, very small little kind of notation there, right? But this is just by the chart, right? A little bit more fresher, that 25,008, 73-ish area. Okay, does that make sense? It's a little bit more fresher. All right, but as you can see, even the S&Ps and NASDAQ, they couldn't even break those daily lows right there. We're already on a little bit of a revert up. All right. And you can see SPYs are just ripping right back above the daily VWAP. All right, does that make sense? Right, so kind of annoying there, but yeah, hopefully I got that there. And then the S&P, my man, quality transportation, 25,938. 25,938 was the Tuesday low. That is literally just what's holding up, at least for right now. That was a level of demand below the G trap. I was hoping that the implied vol was a little bit more higher and kind of trap a little bit more people down in here. All right, so these puts are, and my man, quality transportation is 6873 long. Nice. So my guy sniped in this here. He's a beast. My man sniped in there. So didn't snap that Monday's low in gap trap on futures, but it did on SPYs and equities. So good job, team. Good job, team there, right? All right, so already all right, so these puts on the wrong side now. So I don't want to say I knew here, but There's going to be a bit of a trap all down in this area here. All right, so these puts on the wrong side, at least for the moment. The irony with today right now is that the NASDAQ is a bit more weaker than the S&Ps. All right, so we're going to cut these SPY puts, right? Kept it low delta. Where are you? Right here. All right, now one thing with this, what's VIX doing is typically right above these little opening days ranges. It'll be a little bit of a trap, but it's flush on the side there. We got VIX doing this thing, so I'm going to cut these puts because even if I did want to work bearish side, I'd have to work Q's bearish because it's a bit more weaker like right now, at least for today so far. This is one massive bull put credit lower down here. So we're going to cut these SPYs here. Cut, and almost let's just flip long. I'd be patient on Qs. All right, so it's got some sense taken away from me on that flush trap. X above, X lower. Classic. So you'll see what happened to myself here personally. If you know, you know. So prepared for that little bit of that little, it did it on SPY, but on futures was waiting for that NASDAQ and futures to hit, right? Didn't do it. Then I took VWAP tag here to get on board with the, what could potentially be momentum to the downside here. And then that got stopped out. All right. So we'll see, VIX collapsing, I shouldn't say it like that, but coming off of its highs. There we go. And then we got, almost got a flip now, right? Almost got a flip long bullish. All right, I'll keep NASDAQ a little bit more flat, at least at the moment. All right, one of the things you have to watch out for a little bit here today, I don't want to go too crazy with this, but, a little bit of a chop day, okay? So if I were to get long bullish here, this is yesterday's Fed WAP here, by the way, get light, I get a little bit light, get a pop. I'm a little bit late to this long over here because I just got stopped out of a short. All right, I have to just watch out for a little bit of chop session here. We get some light long here, low delta, 687 handle here. Now, some of the team is already long from that little level right there, which is great. Yes, the one challenge, Mason, with MU. So if I do SPYs, those actual calls would have been printing. Just waiting for one more leg lower. So I'll pick up, what is it? Do a 35 delta, right? This is the 687 strike call. Copy that premium there. Bring this over into the left. And this could potentially pull back on at least myself here for a little bit here. They're going for about $1.33. VWAP on these about like 80 something odd cents there. All right, so if you were to get into these right now, you're buying at or around like on a new high on day and kind of some rebalancing on some other VWAP. So I get in a little bit light long here, okay, and we can put in potentially some pullback orders down here in the event that we pull back in here. All right, and this is going to be the, what is it? 687 strike call, that is, on SPY. Going for about $1.25, $1.80 right now, $1.28, give or take right there. All right, we can put some pullback orders in here as well. SPY 687 long call bullish. Light size here a little bit. I want to put a little bit more, some pullback orders lower, but let me lock this in real quick right now. Already going here. JP Morgan, Disney. Man, usually you get those. Those sweeps. Usually futures will sweep right below those lows and highs. JP Morgan doing its thing there. Backside follow through. This was even better today than yesterday. Good job, team. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse turned into a chop fest on monthlies for 2 years. You want to see chop? Beautiful chop, I will say. Look at Disney's condition. Choppy. Mid-range, off the 200, decent here. Mid-range though, right? Choppy versus something like, look at AVGO, just comparison. Not choppy, just straight doink, trend base break. But yeah, not bad. Playing the daily 200 people moving average here, kind of choppy there, but hitting some bids there today, right? Hitting some bids there today. If this would be closing a massive positive COG, this would be a little bit hard to trust because of the condition, right, and the location. So with Disney, you almost would rather range trade here, right? But for the day, blessing on fire, you got it. In terms of Disney doing its thing there. Red bar open, positive COG, pop. It's just on fire today. There go small caps. But it's kind of like a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. Netflix, I picked up some shares there for the record. I'm picking up a little bit of shares of Netflix. I'm watching out for this. It's going to be an October low soon. Could potentially be a little bit of multiple sweeps down in here. But starting to get outside of 2 standard deviations to the downside on weeklies here, right into this previous all-time high. Could be a little bit of trap area here. I picked up some shares on Netflix yesterday. Okay. A little bit there. All right. Expensive stock. So be careful with that. But yeah, this is the kind of levels I'm looking at. Yeah, hey, Travis. Had a limit order on NQ, bounce that, missed by 2 points. Yeah. I'm not publicly like bitching about it, but yeah, probably S&P's, NASDAQ. If you're waiting for that little bit of that, just a little bit more of that daily low sweep, didn't quite get it a little bit there, right? And so the longs crank, longs rip right off the open, doink, right? But there goes what trap. Somebody even had it worse. Somebody sold short down here, just got their face ripped off. Right now, at least I got short, but at least I waited for a little bit of a pullback there. Okay, and then I had to get out, got my face ripped off there, right, a little bit there, right. But yeah, I wanted that bounce, like I wanted that bounce too. So I kind of missed that too, just kind of going through the process. All good, right? So stopped that short, stopped out here. Keep it moving. It's early. And we'll see, right? Got long call. So this was bearish. And I got stopped out. To watch out for a little bit of chop today. And you got long. Got long. And we'll see. Small size, I should say. And then put some limit orders in here, right? To potentially add into. All right. So limits to add from to longs. Oops. Go it. All right, now we just made a new higher high on day. So what must we do just as a robot? TP some, right? So I can't be mad about that little stop out short, right? Just gotta keep it going, keep flowing there. Kind of wanted that bounce trade at first. All right, so that fills here. And what I'm trying to do here too is put some limit orders in. So the 687 strike call. I mean, you can put some limit orders in here, like $1, give or take $1. Still going to be a little careful with this long. Does that make sense, team? Keep your eye on cues. All right, let's see. First 30-minute bar print is in. A lot of, well, it was in the morning. It kind of collapsed. I just think this is just one massive order. That's just huge. That's making the other orders just seem so much more smaller. All right, 6,900 have some positive game above, even though, albeit that's 25 points from where we are about right now. And we have to watch out. See how that swiped very, remember how I was mentioning how we have negative GEX above? Negative GEX, regime or red and yellows, prices can go through these regimes here, these clouds, if you will, very quickly. So that was one of the things too. I was mentioning how we had a little bit of a, nothing crazy. We have a little bit of some positive gamma below, but like right about as we dropped, right, we have some negative GEX above. So as we did kind of trickle up, market makers have to buy into this to hedge their portfolio or just hedge their books at least temporarily. Okay, so that's the thing there. That's the thing there. All right, so that bounce was nice. Okay, from there. Now above here we have 6,900, give or take. That's what we're, more shorter term in terms of the next, maybe hour or so, give or take. That's something that I'd be looking for. 6810s down here. We have that positive gamma here. And if I just refresh this, what's above that 6,900 there? Yeah, Mark. Volatility right now is volatility is it's sticky. It's sticky because we have markets at all-time highs. You don't want to, and it just keeps making all-time highs. So you want to participate in that, right? But on the same side, it's kind of like sleeping with one eye open as an analogy, right? So for that reason, VIX term structure later out expirations are getting bidded up a little bit there. Okay, so there's a little bit of, now I don't want to say concern in the fact that like, oh my God, world's going to end and crash, but just whoa, we're a little bit too high now. You know, we could kind of pull back, et cetera, et cetera. And what you have to be careful with that is something like 10/10, October 10th, where things are just like super, almost too quiet and complacent, right? If you remember from yesterday, we had a positive COG away, like all-time highs on NASDAQ. And even though, you hear me say, ignore, like, just rip the tape, price action, where that was located was high. Just like before 10/10, that dropped, we had a positive COG on daily time frame on S&P and NASDAQ, okay? But that location was not great because we're at those highs there, right? We were too high, okay? So even, up here, where if we're starting to get some more like positive COGs on daily, we have to be a little bit more just cautious, if you will, okay? For yes, at some point something will happen. We get that trick. We get a spasm, if you will. Paul Campbell calls it like the spasm, like a vol spasm, okay? Where it's like even something small that just it gets exaggerated, and then boom, it kind of trickles. It trickles and markets they slam lower, okay, and they grind higher. They slam lower, they grind higher. Anyways, that's something that need more time to kind of discuss. Anybody get filled these orders on SPY? Can we TP some of these as I'm kind of talking? Let's TP some more SPY. Some of those orders got filled down there. Oh man, you can already see it's choppy. This is barely nothing. Tesla trading 448. I'm looking at that 445 level. Negative gamma is market makers sold options on their order books. And what that does is that creates them being, that has them short gamma. Short gamma is not that awesome to be going against, because sold options have more higher risk and they have more sold gamma on their books. So what happens is as price goes against them, right? So there's a lot of sold, from market makers' perspective, a lot of sold options, right? Options are to the left, are sold, options to the right. So when market makers have sold options and right, sold, these are all sold puts. Okay, sold put is actually bullish. So as prices are going bullish, they want to be delta neutral. Okay, so they actually have to, right? As prices are going up, they have to go with the actual price to hedge their books. So as prices are going up, they have to buy to hedge their books. In a negative gamma regime, even if the price is going down, they have to sell. So they're adding. Okay, they're basically taking liquidity away. They're taking liquidity away in that, because they have to move fast. It's all electronic these days. They have to move fast, and they would right. So that's why even on that negative GEX regime above, as price was going up, because I knew that we have all this negative GEX market makers perspective here. Okay, I knew that if prices were to go up, we would have a tendency to flush. Okay, to flush up. Okay, as market makers would have to buy to hedge their books. But as we flush from you see how there's a line right here? This is letting us know that there's a little bit of a positive change in terms of gamma. green and blue. So as prices are coming down into this level, even if prices were to drop right now, it could potentially flush lower too, because we're still in a negative GEX regime. So it can be choppy right here, right now. Does that make sense? Okay. If we start to get lower, okay, that will be into a positive gamma regime. And if prices are coming down, market makers have to buy into this to hedge their portfolio. So green and blue as we're rallying up, okay, this is a positive regime up here. So even if we were to rally, market makers would be selling into the 6,900, okay? Market makers would be buying into 6,800, at least just at a basic level for right now, with negative GEX in the middle here. So price action is very sensitive at the moment because we're in a negative GEX regime by these two, right? And what makes this participants, people buying options, selling options, et cetera, and the market maker in the SPX options, okay, which makes up about what 60 to 7% of order flow on SPX complex there. That's super key. So you can trade ES and do very well even without this. Don't get me wrong here, but this is that behind the kind of peek behind the behind what's going on market maker gamma exposures. Super important there. So I know kind of what regime that we're in right here. So that's why I said even these longs, right? Even these longs, these bullish trades, we have to be a little bit careful with them too, because at the moment, yes, we have bull market up, right? Coming off a little bit their highs, right? And we're just a little bit rangy, at least for right now, which is digestion day, potentially post-Fed. Now, because we have this negative GEX a bit below us here, which index is a bit more weaker? Which index is a bit more weaker, NASDAQ or the S&Ps? Right? IWM is one of the more stronger ones. So the NASDAQ is more weaker, at least for today. So this is one of the things that I was going to talk about here, where we have, okay, open, we have a little bit flush lower. Team was already like kind of on that as well. We spoke about that. And then as we rally up, could be a little bit of a bull trap here, because now we're in a gap abyss here. Annoying, right? Kind of a gap abyss here on the S&Ps. And then as you see here, gap down here today, there'll be gapped abyss into here. Okay. So if I'm going to now, I can't just get short, at least for right now, because we're still, again, we're on this weekly VWAP here for this week, and we're still trading at least above daily VWAP here for today. Okay. Now, in the event, so I'm still going to work SPY longs. It's a bit more, even though they're both down, SPY is down less than NASDAQ, and it's a bit more stronger. Okay. As you can see, it's just holding a little bit better above its daily VWAP. So I'll continue to work some bullish trades off on SPYs, okay, or S&Ps, okay, off these levels here, okay, with the understanding that, okay, this could be wrong too on a chop fest here, okay, keeping NASDAQ flat because I'm working SPY longs, right? Could be wrong on that too, right? But I'm going to keep a keen eye on the NASDAQ. It's a bit more of the weaker one, at least for today. And if this starts to trickle down and we start to get some closes, because we just got the first 30-minute bar closed now, it's basically a open here, flush lower hammer bar, right? G traps. Some people caught that, right? I just need to go down a little. We already talked a little bit about that, okay? And then 30-minute bar is a hammer, okay? Next bar open. We already made a new high here. We can lean against this hammer bar, okay? Right now, which is going to be bullish, but I'm doing that in S&P 500, okay? But with NASDAQ, I'm going to keep it flat at the moment, because this is going to be my bullet in the chamber that I would need, that in the event that this market starts to break down, well, I want to attack potentially NASDAQ. That could potentially begin to, I don't know if this isn't happening yet, okay, but I'm going to keep that flat in the event that we start to snap a little bit here below weekly in, close below daily VWAP. Have to watch out for a chop, okay, but this will give me some kind of insight, right, to if this starts to unravel something like this, well, I will attack NASDAQ shorts, okay, right, without it mitigating, right? So that hasn't happened yet, so I'm waiting, okay, with the understanding that I can build into a bullish trade on the S&Ps, and if this starts to fail, then I got NASDAQ that I'm ready to go and pull the trigger, okay? So right now, what's happening right now is a little bit choppy, right? It's a little bit choppy. So I got to stay the course with this. Just entered, let me get into my other account here. All right, just entered more limits into here. Right, so I got those filled, keeping it low delta, at least for right now. Just get to some other account. So that just filled here, right? Oh, so it added to calls. Duh. $1 and then what? 89 cents. So just copy it. This. All right, whatever. Here we go. Good enough there. Gold. Yeah, 39.50 handle just continues to do its thing there. Tesla. Yeah, gold starting to range inside days, etc. It's getting down to those higher time frame levels, right? So nice little rip, positive CRG in the 30. This potentially has some room to go. It's TP from longs, at least for right now. Yeah, I can work on this. Put some pullback orders. Try to ride this thing. It's just positive CRG on the good, decent location, right? We just had a discussion on that. But yeah, nice little pullback there. We want to check for an ad. I'll catch some Microsoft. Travis Mason's hanging out with T Wang too much. Yeah, man. Mason likes to. T Wang just loves to like short shit. Hopefully, he didn't short AVGO yesterday because he would have got cooked. But yeah, be careful with shorting those mega cap stocks. Yes, indeed, they can continue to go higher at all-time highs. Google. Oh, Tesla. Well, let me prepare real quick the cues. So far, the best trade was the flush lower. Rip higher. We're balancing all that out right now. So let me prepare these cues. What strike am I looking at here? Oh, Qs. Qs. Just to prepare this. 6:30. So again, I'll still go choppy chop a little bit there. At least still early, but for right now, I'll stick with that 30 delta handle. All right, so I'm gonna cut. This is the QQQ627 put. Copy that code. Bring that code over to this here. And this is the 627 strike put on QQQs. All right, so this will be your last kind of ditch effort to add into SPY longs. At least for right now, what we have offered. Still going to stick with that, at least for the time being. Could be wrong. And I have this is QQQs. And I just prep the 627 put. All right. So yeah, I just got that ready to go. you wanted to get in front of that with a lower risk entry, if you were to buy those puts right now, you'd be getting in on mid-range, right? You could potentially do that right now. Hasn't closed below daily VWAP though, however. All right, so it's a little bit of a risk there. All right, but if you flush lower on that and you're like, my SPY calls are now getting a little bit chopped up there, you get some Q puts. All right, so if you were to do that, I would do small size. So it's kind of like a mini hedge on the SPY longs, right? And if we start to flush lower, we see we could start to work on these. All right, but so far, open, ding, ding, ding. So far, rangy and choppy. So at least for right now, on indexes. But where's those puts right here? They're about $1.50, give or take, on these 627 long puts. That'd be QQQ's bearish. All right, VIX not on highs, but on an uptick there. All right, so I can sneak in a little bit here of these QQQ 627 puts. Again, small size here. Small size. All right, QQQ puts bearish. What strike is this? 627. Hit the send. Bearish light. Bot put. All right, you can see these calls are just, you're not trying to hang on there. All right, market, your next move there. Oh, Tesla. It came down to, we're still at around there. The channel. Yeah, Tesla's kind of coming down into this area here. What's today? Thursday. Folks looking at this gap fill on Microsoft there. So Tesla can come a little bit more lower into that level. Have a new month soon. I might position this even for, here we go, that would dip it down a little bit more into there. Not only for a day trade, Now, just know that we have this daily low in here. Monthly VWAP is about 440-ish, give or take. All right, so this could be a first leg in. For a day trade, you just leg in some, but for a swing trade, it could gap abyss monthly VWAP here, tag here. All right, because I'm going to be ending the session soon. I'll sneak in a quick day trade here, front side on it, but just know that these areas here could be areas to potentially do kind of a, a swing trade. And I'm gonna be going bullish. Could be wrong, and you're gonna be looking at anywhere between, just say like 1 to potentially 3 weeks out, give or take. Just keep it a little bit more short term there. And I own, disclosure. I mean, I think everybody on the planet who's been at least knows me at a basic level knows that I've been long Tesla forever in a long term portfolio years ago, giving that out long term. So 1, 2, 3 weeks, whatever for a swing trade. Right, it could be wrong on that, but I still own the shares as well. So and if that's wrong, Tesla comes all the way back down here. Well, yeah, that's all wrong. But we have low range. It's very rangy right now. Low range. We're kind of in the middle of the range there. Overall, but for a day trade right now, we have 450 long calls. Might not be bad here. That's the daily view up here for today on this new low down in here. Right. So I don't want to be shorting down to this level. A little bit of impulse basing. Impulse, not the greatest level in the world there. A little bit more fresher now on a small time frame. So, and if I was short, I'd be TPing into here. Remember, it could still flush lower here as well. But for the day, maybe you can maybe pick up a little something here. Could go against us a little bit here. But 450, what does that 450 strike look like? 450, 455. Yep, no problem, Scott. Scott Sorensen, my man. Pick a level, Scott. Put some risk on, Scott. Let's see. What the fuck, Tesla? Yep, monthly you got 440. Q, man, I should have been. Anybody was TPing those Q puts up there? Tessie. Now for the day trade, I have no problem going October 31st. 450 is going for about $4. I wouldn't want to get too far away from the day trade here today. What the high today is 455 on premium on our stock price, 555, and that's going to be about 25-30 delta. So I wouldn't want to get too far away from the strike price that is of a 552 half or a 452 half or a 455 strike. You're operating like a 20 delta because you're going against the overall momentum for today. So this is a bounce trade. Okay, so even if I just, for example, picked up because go a little bit more lower too, right? So you can maybe keep it a little bit lower delta, but I'd want to pick up the closer to the at the money. So of course the 450 would be the actual what VWAP itself there for today. The closest one to that would be the 452 half. You can see as Tesla's kind of flushing a little bit more lower. Coming deeper in that level. You can kind of pin this Tesla call over here. And you can leg into it right now. I mean, we're coming into some kind of level there on a new low. So shorts, I would be saying TP, and you want to pick up the 452 half strike call is going for about $3 right now. All right. Day trade, long call Tesla here. And this is Tesla. Spies on a grind. We're gonna have first hour bars. Looks like a doji on S&Ps, right? Kind of annoying, at least for the time being. All right, and yeah, we'll see. But if we get back up into these areas here, just TP some of those long calls on the day trade bounce. That would probably take you as Tessie. Q puts are trying to trickle lower. I'm long puts, they're like going. I'm long calls, they're like not going. It's just NASDAQ, S&Ps. Chop it at the moment. Man, this I'm so disorganized with these call put matrices today. You can already take a bounce out of there. This is a blessing here. Just a long call, Tessie. You can already TP a little bit some here. Going against the everything today. The momentum there today on Tess. All right, shave out a couple pennies here. Nothing too crazy. All right, TP some Tessie here. All right. Still inside. Let's put some limit orders in here, like three. I caught 380, $4, give or take. See if we get a bigger move. Took a little baby bounce out of that level. Nothing crazy though, right? I mean, a little bounce. It's nothing crazy, right? It's nothing crazy by any means yet. Like yesterday's whole kind of ordeal yesterday, just with everything was, it's crazy because you can go through process and system and I'm going through the liquidity map on the S&P and NASDAQ complex. Like yesterday, the whole team was just on top of everything, like caught the cues at the highs there, like TPing, right? Just systematic wise, not thinking or failing, right? I was like, I'm not gonna get long the positive COG there. I sold some out, right? Got legged into SPY puts yesterday, caught the, not even trying, just logical stuff away from the extremes. Bought put, started, new lows, TP, added to puts, new lows, TP, added to puts, new lows, TP. Prep the G traps over there for the flush on a Fed day. Took the bounce, so it's, and I don't know. This is what I try to do here is just try to help people. Right? Is try to, I don't know. I feel like some people just don't even like as I'm going through talking literally and trading through the market. No, people just not paying attention, man. I'm just showing y'all literally how to rip the tape of the S&P and NASDAQ markets. I mean, if you can do that, I mean, you conquered the fucking world, man. Right? And I'm not saying that to toot my horn, man. Mason yesterday, add to puts, nailed, right? Limits in, price sliced everything there, right? Had levels lower, and TP shorts. Somebody's getting traps. Who's selling down there? We already shorted up here high. We're buying a cover. There goes the trap. Doink, right back up, mean reversion. And that's what we're trying to get across, man. So if you want to learn a little bit more about this, and you're not a fucking tool bag, if you're serious about this, right? If you're a tool bag and you're weird and all this kind of stuff, and you want to train fart coin and fucking Beyond Meat and all that stuff, we might not be the place for you, man. We're serious, training serious people, serious trading stuff at a serious level. And if that's not you seriously, then seriously fuck off, man. Don't matter. But TradePhantoms.com is the place. Mark Wahlberg getting me starved. Damn it, Mark. Damn it. I almost knew that was going to happen, bro. You already know the deal. He's just getting me fired up. But yeah, if you want to learn a little more about that with this, TradePhantoms.com. And November 6th, 7 days from now, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, name, email, number. Mr. Black, the Mr. Black or the Mr. Green will kind of walk through 90 minutes, give or take. There's the agenda. Y'all can read that. And yeah, stocks, futures, forex, options, even crypto these days, trading for income, short term, all the way to wealth management. So we actually had a little chat today, I guess, in regard to the wealth side of things with Meta down, as we're also day trading here. It's a little bit of a chop fest here, the S&Ps and NASDAQ, but you got some other tickers that are doing things. There goes Tesla on that new low. Watch out for that 440 monthly VWAP, right? Could actually leg into that. Bitch ass retail traders. And yeah, if you like it, cool. I'm just gonna give it to you real, man. Give it to you real. A lot of swear words. Oh, that's okay. You gotta have thick skin for this business. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, that's cool as well. We're still going to do our thing and rip out tape based on strategy and edge. Yeah, I still got the day trade stuff. I scaled out of some right there, so cleared the book. They're floating down now. But yes, don't get now that we're approaching that monthly number. This was a counter kind of momentum trade, right? So this is where, right? This is where, okay, there goes that month. Remember, that has orange. Orange means monthly, right? So it's like, oh no, right? So again, as we new low flush, okay. Yes. Now with this one, you can potentially reaccumulate into a day trade, okay, right? Day trade, but not only look at a day trade, but you can now go out to maybe a couple weeks, maybe even just at a minimum next week's expiration, okay, to potentially work on some kind of bullish trade if you want to take this potential setup there. Albeit Tesla has been very rangy. Okay, even post earnings. Earnings was a couple weeks ago, give or take, last week, and even post earnings very choppy. Shout out Pinsky, caught low range here on that weekly low range there, but very rangy. And this is a level inside of the mid range, so it's not going to get the most amazing score on the planet here, if you will. All right, because this is mid range, but there's some thesis there, some strategy, some edge, at least for the day, and then you can potentially leg in. That's all you got. That's all you got to work with right now, at least for it. And so you can work on it here for the day, analyze some risk, and let it go and see what it does. See what it does. That's all you can do. All right. So in TP some still in. You can have some TPs up here. If this flushes lower, now I might. Key thing here too. Not might. I am. I don't like to talk in mights. Objective defined talk. If we do come lower, notice that first leg in was here at 444 half. If we do leg lower into the 440, okay, I could roll down my delta even for a day trade. So I might not look at the 452 to add. I might roll down to the 450 as we get lower. Okay, if we get lower to the 440, I can maybe even pick up the 445 call or the 450 strike call. Okay, as I'm trying to work out those 452 halves that I'm already in. All right, does that make sense? But as we get down here too, all right, For swing trade, yeah, I could probably go up to maybe like the 460s. I wouldn't want to get too far away from the 465 for the swing trade for latter part, like for like next week or 2 weeks from now, give or take. All right, Blues the man's man. All right, folks. I'll see some of y'all later today in class Thunder Thursdays, and of course tomorrow being Friday. Let's hit up that trade room for multiple hours. Cool. All right. God bless. Take care. Trade safe. A little bit of chopping the indexes. So be patient. Be patient. Be patient. Be patient. Blew out. God bless. Take care.